always do the right thing. Tough, tough thing to do. Always do the right thing. One of the definitions I've heard of character is, what would you do if nobody was watching? It's an interesting question. Walking down the street, find a bag, $5,000 in it, nobody's watching, what do? You bring the money to the police station and say, I think somebody lost this. It's the right thing to do. One of the pressures we're dealing with in college now is there's a rise in cheating. A rise in cheating in test taking and paper writing. All right? That's a rising problem in college. I don't know if it's happening in the high school level, but it's happening at the college level. And I spoke to the boys on the team the other day and I said, guys, rather than cheating, why not just fail the test? If you don't know the material, the truth is, fail the test. Never occurred to them. Oh my God, I shouldn't pass this test, I don't know the material. I'll take my failure, I'll talk to the professor, I'll do better next time. That's the right thing to do. You know, I coached at West Point, and the motto there was that a cadet will not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those that do. What happens if you see a friend doing something wrong? Do the right thing. Call them on it. Do the right thing. You can walk through life with your head up. It sounds like such a simple thing, but as the adults in this room will tell you, it's so hard to do the right thing. But it's the way to go through life. One of the things we talk about in our program is the awesome power of now. Now, this is not my idea, I stole it from somebody else. But we talk about the awesome power of now, and I would like to challenge you to make sure that when you wake up tomorrow, you determine yourself to do everything in the course of that day the best you've ever done. The absolute best you've ever done. Now, I know that you're 18, 16, you're bulletproof, you're going to live for another 100 years. But when you get to be my age, you realize that life isn't forever. So what we've decided to do is to say, you know what, we're going to approach this day as if it was the last day on earth. And when St. Peter meets me at the gate tonight, and sadly I'll probably only see him there for a few minutes before he sends me south, but when I meet St. Peter at the pearly gates, I want to be able to say to him, man, was I something today. I was into everything. I had the best breakfast I ever had. I walked into that class so prepared. My professor was so impressed with me. I was fully there. I called my mother, I told her I loved her. I went to practice, I had the best practice of my life. I called my girlfriend, we had the best conversation we ever had on the phone, and tomorrow I can't wait to get up and do it even better. Now, as a coach, if you can get everybody on that team approaching things that way, the energy that you create by 20 people living life like their hair was on fire is unbelievable. It's unbeatable. Unbeatable. Simply by just saying, I'm going to suck the bone marrow out of every single thing I do today and be the best that I can be for every minute. Now, what happens if you wake up tomorrow with a cold? It can't be a perfect day. Maybe you're only 50% of your best self. Then get 100% out of that 50%. That's as good as you can do. That would be a really terrific goal, something worth thinking about. The title of our book, and I say it's ours because Jim really gets all the credit, is Run to the Roar. Run to the Roar. Now, this is a psychological term that my therapist uses with me often. And basically, the idea of this is we are an avoidant culture. We will avoid conflict, or we will avoid uncomfortable things at all costs. I don't want to call my boyfriend and tell him that he's my ex-boyfriend. I don't want to call my parents to tell them my car got towed. I don't want to go to the professor and say I didn't do the work. And we make these issues bigger in our minds than they really are. So the idea of run to the roar is this. In the desert, or rather in the jungle, lions hunt in packs. And they take with them the oldest female of the tribe. And by this point, the old female is so old, she can't catch her own food. Usually she's blind, she has no teeth, but she has an unbelievably deep roar. And what the lions do is they position her in the middle of the field. And then they position all the lionesses in the bush. And when this old lion roars, the prey runs away from the roar to their death. And if the prey simply went at the roar, they'd find out there's nothing here. Go at the problem. Run to the roar. It's never as bad as you're making it out to be in your imaginations. And the more often you do that, the more courageous you will become at attacking the problem. So that's the message of the book, and that's the overriding message of the night. Be courageous. Deal with your fear and go at it. It's never as bad as you think it is. What I'd like to finish with tonight is a little story before I open it up to questions. And one of the things that I'm amazed at is the irony of life. Things never really go the way you think they're going to go. They're never really quite as special. For instance, this past Saturday, I had to do my first book signing in Trinity. It was homecoming. And I was walking into the Smith house and I was feeling so special. Oh, I'm doing a book signing. How amazing am I? And as I was walking in there, I didn't look where I was stepping. And I stepped in the biggest pile of dog poop you've ever seen. So here I am to sign books and I smell like death. Well, that's pretty ironic. So here's my little story about irony, which is a message to say, don't take yourselves too seriously. I'm standing here and you're sitting there. I'm no better than you. I just have more time in service. You'll all have this opportunity, metaphorically, to do something where you hopefully touch a person. So in 1998, I was selected as the U.S. Olympic Coach of the Year. Why? Because I deserve that. I'm just so unbelievably special. And as a result of that, I was invited to go to Fenway Park to throw out the first pitch. Of course I was. So word got out on campus that, hey, Coach Assaiante is throwing out the first pitch in Fenway. So students were coming up to me and they were saying, hey, Coach, are you practicing throwing? Are you kidding me? 60 feet 6 inches. I'm a professional athlete. This is a piece of cake. So fine. The day of the pitch comes up, and we fill the bus with the students because the men are going to get their national championship rings on the field. We're going up to Fenway. My daughter is a sophomore at Trinity. She gets all of the sorority sisters. They all go out and sit in the bleachers so that I can't see how much they're drinking. So we're on the field, and the woman comes over to me and she hands me a brand new baseball. And it is a cold, frigid night in New England. Now that cold is an important part of the sport. How many of you have ever held a brand new baseball? Really, really slick on a cold night in New England. So here I am, having my magic night. I'm on the field, and I'm special. Kurt Schilling is standing there, Nomar Garcia-Parra, Jason Veritek, and I'm thinking, these guys are immense. Nomar's arms are bigger than my legs, but that's okay. I'm a professional athlete, I can do this. Now, while these guys are throwing the ball through the air, I don't know if you realize it, but it whistles when it goes through the air. And when it hits a glove, it makes a really loud pop. But I can do this 60 feet, 6 inches away. So the lady says, okay, Coach, stand here, and we'll sing the national anthem, and then you'll hear your name, you go out on the field and throw out the ceremonial first pitch. No problem. So I'm standing there at attention, and unfortunately, it was the longest rendition of the national anthem you've ever heard. And I'm now shivering. But I can do this because I'm special. Things are echoing off the Green Monster, and I jog out to the field to do my magic. And I get on the mound, and I look at Jason Veritek, and he's 60 feet, 6 inches away, and this is my special moment in life. And as I'm getting ready to throw out the pitch, my daughter and her classmates decide to say, "Hey Dad, check us out." So of course I'm going to wave to my fans. So as I turn to wave to my fans and my daughter, I notice on the big screen TV, there I am 140 feet tall. I turn back to home plate and I can't find Jason Veritek because he's 2 miles away. I throw out my ceremonial pitch, which bounces 3 times before home plate. And I have a ceremonial ball now with a big mud stain on it. And I can't get off the field fast enough. And as I'm running off the field, embarrassed, I'm running through the box seats of all these wonderful but very drunk Bostonians. And they're saying, "Oh, that's great! U.S. Squash Coach of the Year." What the hell is squash? Message, don't take yourselves too seriously. So I'd like to open it up to any questions that you have. And remember, there are no stupid questions. And so, fire away. You're going to have to sit here until you ask a few, so fire away. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're trying to get better each time, considering you're undefeated, how do you do that? I mean, I'm not trying to be, like, just how does that occur?
All right, so the question was, how do you keep getting better, or trying to keep getting better, when you're undefeated? The team last year was undefeated. This team is 0-0. And so the point of that is, every day you have to get up and you have to re-succeed. Every day you have to get up and rededicate yourself to the goals. And so we don't take the streak at all seriously, or at least we try not to. And we try to get up every day, committed to being excellent in every way we can. And there are lots of little setbacks along the way. But that's our focus. You can ask a question. Yes. What happens when you lose? When you lose, the train stops, and you get to look in the mirror, and you get to say, "Oh my gosh, what happened here? What happened here? How can I prepare better? What can I do to be better next time? What can I learn from this moment?" All learning happens when you lose. We haven't done any learning over the last 12 years at Trinity College. But all learning happens when you lose. Don't be afraid to lose. Take intelligent, calculated risks, and when you fail, improve. What happens when you get a progress report? That's a beautiful thing. That's somebody saying to you, you need to take a hard look at this before the train gets any further down the tracks. Losing, making mistakes is a beautiful thing. Don't be afraid of it, but learn from it. Learn from it. Yes? Who inspires me? These kids inspire me. People inspire me. The world inspires me. It's a beautiful, it's unbelievable world we live in every day. She's laughing at me. She's thinking, that guy's got to be on drugs. I truly believe that it's a wondrous world we live in, and we're just renting space here. It's not forever. And the whole being a part of this world is inspirational.